everybody. Thanks for joining me and glad you came over. We have been busy. We have had so much company, but that time has passed and you're here and I'm glad. And the orchids have been totally ignored for the last week, but I'm celebrating. And I hope you are too, because all of these on this side, all these, it's watering day, and I haven't started yet because I want to show you how they look when you neglect your orchids. They can handle it. They love it, actually. They just do their own thing and you walk by and breathe on them. They love to get you to breathe on them as you talk to each one and check out for spikes, and it's so much fun. So I'm celebrating because all the ones on this side are in spike. I haven't watered yet, but I have changed to my higher number. Those of you who remember, I ordered this online and it came from Lithuania and it's 18-27-18 and it has magnesium, 2 milligrams. So I mean, the debate is out as to whether it really does help encourage flowering, but I say it does. And so I switched last watering day, which was last Thursday. I did my first, started my week over again and did my number 1 watering, and now it's my number 2 watering, and I am using fertilizer. And what I do is my sink holds about 5 gallons, but because it's not full right to the top, I'd say 4. So I use 1/4 of the recommended dose. I don't use too much. So it says 1/4 of a teaspoon for a gallon. So if I've got 4 to 5 gallons in my sink, I use 1 teaspoon in my sink. Now I also have a bucket here. And it says 3 gallons. So I use maybe 3/4 of my teaspoon. And these are the things I use. I sometimes have a bowl too. And then my watering can that I take to the shower, where some get a shower instead of the sink because they don't fit. I put about a little less than 1/4 of a teaspoon in this one. So that's how I do it, and I'm ready to start. And I wanted to show you, I mean, humidity is very important, and we have had rainy nights and then we've had beautiful days. Cold. We are definitely cold. And the last video I had the ones that were in spike here, but I had quite a bit on this side too. So what I had done was the ones that weren't in spike yet, I moved to the closest to the glass of my window. Now, our windows are double pane because it gets pretty cold here, and freezing a lot of nights, and sometimes just 3 or 4 degrees above freezing if we're lucky. So they get colder at night, and of course when I first brought them in, when it wasn't that cold, I left the windows open a crack for a couple of weeks. But now I don't leave the windows open because it's quite cold, but just being near the glass, the ones that are in spike, they're getting that cooler. So there is important to have 2 to 3 weeks of a cooler evening temperature. However you can do it, wherever you are. So, you know, if you're somewhere hot and you have to put bowls of ice cubes around them when you go to bed at night, you know, anything, you know, you have to really, maybe even those, they sell them, those bags that won't leave water, but they're cold, right? So if you have a bunch of them that you maybe use in your freezer if you go picnicking, and you put them around your pots, And you froze them in your freezer, then you put them around your pots and just have a little fan, keep air moving a little bit in that area. That should do the trick. So you have to kind of think outside the box, because you want that drop in temperature, and then if you've got that, then the other thing is you want about 12 to 15 hours of light. And light is important. Now, in the summer, my windows are hot, and come about May, that's why I put them out in the patio, or I bring them forward. We put shelves in front of our window. I can show you a close-up of that after. You can use a sofa table in front of a window, or you can just have a ledge where you add some glass or a piece of wood, whatever you have, to bring them just that little bit in, so that in the summer when it's hot, they cannot be too close. This is a west window. The light is perfect this time of the year, but come summer it's too hot, so I have to back them off and put them out in the patio too. So anyway, that's what I have done. Light and temperature drop is important, and I'm proof. So the other thing is that humidity is also important. So our humidity has been, I haven't even put the misters on because we've had enough days of rain. Even though the furnace is on, my humidity is being safely above 5, which is fine. If it gets any below 5, or sometimes if I see 5, then I put my misters on. But right now they're standing water, so they're still getting humidity from them. But when the humidity starts to drop lower than that, I make sure they're on and they're misting. So, and as far as misting with the bottle, I have a couple that I'm babying, I'm misting, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And if I'm misting right now, it looks like I'm misting the air. Stand back. If you stand there and squirt, you'll waterlog your orchids. And I want to show you just how these all look inside before I water them. So I'm gonna, when I get through talking, I'm going to show you a close-up of inside all these pots. And on this side, I have my 2 tall ones that are in the big pots that I have to be careful. I put somewhere where somebody visiting doesn't knock them over, or I don't sit it in the middle of the kitchen and back up and knock it over and break 2 leaves. So this happens to us all. We all will get an orchid that for some reason, even though it's under the same care of the others, it's not cooperating. And that's when you have to search. And attached to this video, I love giving you guys reading material, so attached to this video, I am going to put the oh, I always forget what that's called. Anyway, I'm going to put that there so that you can go read this. It's very interesting. There's lots of information there that probably explains some things better than I do. So on this side, I have my 2 tall ones. They're not in spike yet. I'm putting them closer to the window. Now, some that I had gotten later are not in spike. So other than that, I only have, and I will show a close-up later, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 not in spike. And this is at least a month earlier than normal, so by Christmas, holy, no one's going to notice the Christmas tree. I'm going to have to put sparkles all over it because these orchids are just going to be shining, you know. We're just bringing on the beauty of God's nature. Yes. And love. Love is important. Remember, always share a smile with somebody that looks like they need one. Even if they don't, a smile goes a long way. You know, sometimes you're walking down the street and somebody smiles at you and you think, oh God, I don't know them. then you walk a little further, and you think, oh my God, what have I done? But you know what? Those are just loving, friendly people, and they're passing on that love to you. And it's important for you to do that for them too. So anyway, enough of that. I will start watering, but I want to show you these up close, how they look in the pot, because there's so many people that look in their pot and they say, oh my God, it's so dry. And I am not doing anything I'm not telling you I'm doing. You have my watering schedule, that's all I do. And oh, well, there's one thing, and I'm going to share that with you. And a subscriber that helped me. So I'm going to show you what I've got started going here. And then my oldest orchid back here, I'm going to show you a close-up of that, because Barb in Ontario, thank you. She gave me the best advice I never thought of. And you can hunt online, and I think there was one Spanish YouTube channel where you cannot understand the people speaking, but if you click translate to English, if you're English, you can go through and read the comments, and you can learn a lot. And I do that. There's a couple Spanish videos, people I subscribe to. I just love them. But understanding, I have to learn a new language. So anyway, thanks Barb, because she pointed out. That's in the big plastic pot, and I'm going to show you a close-up. And it is in spike, the rascal. It's my oldest orchid. And the monopodial stem is this long. It has, what has happened is, it has grown leaves, flowered, grown leaves over the years. And then some leaves fall off, and then it grows more leaves, and now it's this long, and about this much of the root is below the media, and it's all stem. But what I didn't know, and now I have learned, is, you know, even though the leaves fall off by themselves, they leave this, really, the part of the leaf against the monopodial stem is very dry and hard. And I've been waiting for new roots to grow, which it didn't have, even though I've been misting with seaweed fertilizer. And there was all this hard, dried old leaves all the way up the stem, right to the new green leaves. And she pointed out, you know, maybe if you really soak that and you try and pick them off, that it'll let those roots that are under there trying to come out, it'll let them come out. So I thought, oh, that's a good idea. You know, I never thought of that. So I thought I'd try it. And it was too hard. And then I chickened out. But you know, I'm one of these people that think about things for a while. I'm not like gonna just go do something that scares me a bit. But then I did think about it while I kept looking at it, and I kept thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to do it. But do you know, I had to get out the pliers. I soaked it, I wrapped it with a cloth, and those things are so dry to pull each one off as far down the stem as I dared go, because it's in spike. I went way down, took 3/4 of the media out, and I went down, and here's something else I learned when I was doing that. The husk from the leaves, it's dry and hard on that, where it's on the top of the media and it stays dry, it's okay. But down inside the pot, and this is probably why this orchid started to deteriorate. And it's because, you know, down inside the pot where the bark stays a little more humid, those little husks were softer, and inside was kind of like moldy stuff, and I didn't like it. So I ended up, and I should have done a video, but I just got into it, and I never thought it would go so far. But I will be doing, I'll be repotting that in the spring when I amputate the bottom part. I'm waiting for enough roots to come out where those dry husks were. I'm waiting for enough roots to come so when I cut off the bottom I'll pot and try and get some keikes, and the top can go back in, and it shouldn't shock it too much, but I'm waiting till spring. But I did find, and that's why I kept going further and took it all off, and I had to use the pliers, and what I found I didn't like. So then I started looking at some other ones, and there was only 2 other orchids, I think, that had kept this dried leaves against the stem. So if you've had orchids a longer time, then this is something you might consider. It took me a while to do it, and I did find a Spanish channel where they were doing it when they were repotting. So, you know, these were a couple channels that have like 70,000 subscribers or something. They're very good. And I can't remember the names right now. So if I remember, I will pin that too. Or something. So I'm going to show you a close-up of that. And thanks, Barbara, again. You know, there's so many times I learned from you guys. I've been doing this for so long, and you know, it's a wonderful hobby you can do at any age. There's people that I have talked to that have MS or other things, and maybe they're in a wheelchair, that they're actually growing orchids. It's a great, easy hobby. It's so interesting, and they're passing on this love to other people. So, yes, it's contagious. It's like potato chips, but it's so enjoyable. So, it's close-up time. I'm going to show you those close-ups because I got to start watering if I'm going to be through by lunch. So, thanks again. Okay, let's do a close-up of this. Okay, let's look at the ones in spike. Now, I'll try and do a good job of this. Sometimes I don't. Okay, now, if you notice, this media is dry. It's very dry. But what I want you to notice is the humidity in the air is what these roots are coming out for. But even way down in here on watering day is dry, but the roots are still doing good. And it takes a while for these orchids to establish, but orchids growing in bark, once established, are very hardy. And here is a spike. There's a little praying hand coming up. Okay, this is this one. And of course, the ones, these need repotted. They've been in here at least 3 years. And I don't stake these ones, but there's a spike coming here. There's another one here, and another one back here. And I'm going to show you close-ups in the pots. So, now, here's a close-up of this. This was an old lamp that the bottom was cut off of, but it is clay. Okay. That's how it looks. And then you come up, and there's a spike coming. And this one is one of the clamps that Jack soldered to one of the original wires that goes up, that holds it. And on the top, there's always something. But, oh, that one's off. Anyway, I have found the clamps work really good on the thick pot. But the new ones I'm making work really good on the thinner pots. This is what I found. So in here, this is how they look on watering day. Let me see if I can get in here. So I don't want you to be scared. So this one's got quite a few leaves. Here's the spike coming. I will be putting it onto this. So here again, inside, this is what it looks like. And tucked way in here is a spike. Okay, and back here, oh, there's a spike way down in there. This is how the aerial roots look. Dry, okay? And here we go here. There's a close-up of this is watering day. Yes, this bark is dry. But if you look down in here, this is how healthy roots look, even though they're in bark and have had no water. Now, some further down might be a whiter color. They're still getting photosynthesis from the light, these ones, okay, because of the holes in the pots. And there's the spike, okay, and this one has a spike coming here. And back here, if you remember the one, this is when we had the workers here, and mysteriously, and I don't think it was Maggie, somebody knocked one over, the tall one again, and I never did cut this leaf off. I left it. It's healed all around, and it's staying quite healthy, not brown. If it turned brown, I'd take it off. Here I'm using one of my new clips. It works really good on these thinner pots. And of course, it is getting a spike. Damaged leaf and damaged roots that were broken, but it's still. And if you look way down in here, I can't reach that far, but there is some I can. See the roots, the color. This is what you look for. Now these are ones that they do take a while. And here's there is a spike down in here too. Way small. Hope you can see it. I can't reach way back in there. So we have spikes there. And this little green pot, we have spikes there. And into the pot, some of these look a little drier. Why? Why do these ones look a little drier? Because the pot is smaller. The pot is smaller, it dries out quicker, and I could actually water these halfway between watering day, but as I say, I have been busy, so spike there. And of course this is Moonglow. She's another older orchid. She didn't keep those dried hulks of leaves. She's been managing to do fine, and so she's doing good. And back here, another one in spike. And here, where am I? I sometimes have to put my finger in there. There's a spike right there. And this is not as small as the other pot, so you can see, of course, these ones are growing to the humidity in the air, and I still have all my misting bowls with water, so they are getting humidity from there. I like you to see in here because especially new people. Now here you can see, and some of the pots are like this. There's a little root sneaking out the hole, and in here is a spike coming. This is my dirty pour. This is a plastic traffic cone we cut holes in and put in an old stand we found. And I think I'll be cutting this older stem off here. Oh no, that's an aerial root. Oh, this is one that must have got cut off by that flower shop. I hate it when they cut aerial roots off. Close up. Okay, and over here, another one coming. This is a small pot. I want to show you way in here. Okay, this is how it looks. Now, if yours are going a week and they look dried up and shriveled and not like this, then you should have a humidity gauge and know what your humidity is and increase it however you can. So if you're really questionable, let me know. So here is the ones that I'm still waiting to come. And of course this is the one, and I didn't really, this is my big one. Lots of leaves. And this is the one I knocked over. And you can see this. It's still happy, but it wasn't happy about what I did. So I'm going to try and get in here now that it's going brown. You'll see there's where I knocked the leaf. This leaf will probably, if it goes brown, it'll come off. But right now, I'm just leaving it. I see no signs of, quite often if you get an injury, the bugs will quickly run there. And I'll be keeping my eye on it for any signs I don't like. Okay. And this one, it's one of the not in spike yet. It looks healthy enough. I'm pretty sure that it will. And of course, those are my minis back there. And this is one. This one isn't yet, but this is one that I went in. Now you can see it. This is some of the, I pulled some of that off. That's some of the dried leaves. And you can see the light color. This is where I pulled some off. This one had, it must have been, you know, from before I had it, even this one. But you can see where I was pulling off the dried old leaves. And these were the roots that were trying to grow inside. But they were having trouble. So I think they will now. And here's another one in a very small pot. But it's not in spike yet, but you can see there's enough humidity. These have stayed, the aerial roots, very healthy. And this one, way inside, pretty good. And I wasn't sure if this was a spike coming or I think a root. So anyway, there's that. I want to show you a close-up of the old one. Okay. Oh, I still got the music on. Sometimes it's way louder than that. Okay, this one, of course, is the first one decided to spike. Not my healthiest one, but it's sure trying. There's lots of roots coming. It has had no extra water either. That's how it looks. And so, and I have found most of my orchids stay in flower for at least 4 months, sometimes 5 and longer. This one is still getting flowers. So, okay, let's go over and look. Okay, you can see here, this is where I went in with the pliers and I was taking all this old dried leaves. And here you can see roots that were trying to grow. And they just couldn't. Let me go a little bit further down. They couldn't get, but already some are trying to come since I've done this. I know it looks happier. So you can see the white where I've actually pulled it away. And this orchid, I've lost track how old it is, but it is my oldest orchid. Rosemary, my daughter, bought it for me. So you can see down in here, I went all the way down. So I think it's happier, and yeah, I might have stressed it a bit, so I wasn't sure. I might have stressed it a lot, the pliers and pulling, but anyway, we'll see how it continues now. So I'm going to go show you out the front window. This is what looks like when the plants are not in this window. So these haven't been running. Now, where's my gauge? There's my humidity, because we've had rain in the evening. There's my humidity gauge. I don't worry if I'm above 50. I don't worry about turning the misters on. Maybe 52 or something. I might turn them on. I have a couple gauges because I check, but they're both similar. Temperature in the window is about 60. It's cooler than the room itself. But I still have the water bowls sitting here, so they are still getting some humidity. So let's go into the other room. And there's it's raining outside now, as a matter of fact. At least it's not snowing. Oh, I forgot one. Okay. Okay, here's, hey, no barking. There's the dendrobiums. I haven't watered. They get watered too. They're still getting new shoots. I haven't had flowers on them. I'm hoping to. So, and of course the slippers, they come in when I get the orchids done. I'm going to be repotting them soon. I'm not happy. They're okay, but they're not growing vigorously. So I have a plan. So, okay, I'm going to show you out the window in the pouring rain. And the barky dog. Is there a barky dog here? Okay. Okay, there's my lady. She's out in the rain. And there's our stand we made. You see the yellow and red flowers on the light? They kind of go with the stand in the background. The same colors on the stand. Oh, I was happy with that project we did. And the lady, she's looking pretty good. And our big rocks, they're out there for the winter. And the mountains. We are surrounded by mountains. And it's kind of a rainy hail there today. So thanks for joining me. And I'll leave that reading material pinned underneath. Bye now.